dealershipnews.com community. This is Sean Kelley, the Car Biz Coach, and I'm making today's dealershipnews.com vlog all about creating stability at your dealership through a subprime department. Now, I've been working with dealers across the country for the last couple years, and one thing that's really surprised me is the sheer amount of dealers that do not have a subprime department. And I always ask the dealers, or GMs, and I'm like, why don't you have a subprime department? What's going on there? And they're like, well, it's hard to get the inventory, and those deals, they have too much hair on them, and dealing with the customers is really frustrating, and I don't have salespeople that know how to sell those things. And so there's a lot of reasons that are given, and I want to share with you how you can overcome those and the benefits for you if you were to create a subprime department, and also how to tell if you need one or not. You may think you don't need one, but stay tuned, and by the end of this video, you'll know if you need a subprime department or not, or at least you'll know how to check. You'll know how to handle all those obstacles I just covered, and you'll understand the real benefits of having a subprime department. Now, believe it or not, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I was a subprime customer at once. That's right. I was in special operations. I went to Bosnia, spent 14 months in Iraq. When I got back, and tried to become a civilian, I started working at Best Buy while finishing school. I was making $10 an hour part-time. I took all the money I saved up, put it on a house, and on one of those subprime mortgage loans, 2-year ARM loan. And then I bought my fiance this awesome big shiny rock, this awesome engagement ring, had a nice payment on that. And at the end of the day, I couldn't afford my investments, I just couldn't afford it. And I was in over my head, right? My DTI. I went to 3 different dealerships, and one place, after I sat there for 2 or 3 hours, he looks at me and he says, and I go, hey man, what's going on with my deal? Am I approved yet? And he says, oh, you can only afford a $30 a month payment. Get the hell out of here. Just like that. I couldn't believe it. I was devastated. I was shocked. Luckily, one of the 3 places I went to took great care of me, and they got me approved. And that place was near my house. And they had a subprime department, whereas the other place didn't. So let me tell you what happened. I ended up getting hired into that dealership, literally sold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cars for that dealership, worked my way up there, became a used car manager. That dealership made 7 figures, well over 7 figures, as a result of having a subprime department just because they hired me. Now, I'm not saying you're going to hire all your subprime customers, but my point is that opportunities happen when you have a subprime department, okay? And there's so many benefits to it. Number one, having a subprime department is like creating stability in a stock portfolio. All right, so my dealership in South St. Louis, the reason for the subprime department that was so strong was because that's the demographic of customer in that area. And when we were working with these types of customers and the economy tanked in 2009, I had been a manager for about two years at that point, used car manager, and I heard managers all across St. Louis getting getting fired left and right because they weren't able to produce. We were still producing. We were selling cars left and right. I mean, we had relationships with the subprime lenders. They knew they could trust us. Our deals were still getting bought. Customers were still coming to see us. So it's no different than diversifying your stock portfolio. If you can sell subprime customers, if the prime market takes a dip, you can still because you've got subprime. There's value there. Another thing too, and this is really important, your best, most loyal repeat customers that are willing to send you referrals and broadcast the what you guys do for them on social media, these guys are often subprime customers, man. If they've been shot down by 3 dealerships and you take care of them, they're going to be grateful for you. All right, they're going to be extremely grateful. They're going to be willing to put themselves out there, send you referrals, and really be extremely loyal to you. So there's so many benefits to subprime. I could list them on and on. I mean, everything from leveraging subprime as a way to move old inventory. I mean, to help new hires with another stream of revenue when waiting on fresh ups can be sometimes challenging for them, whereas subprime customers can be more open and flexible to a new salesman. There's just so many benefits to having a subprime department, but I could sit here and sell you on that all day. Let's talk about what you need to build one for the dealershipnews.com vlog here. All right, so you need 3 things. It's that simple. 3 little things to build yourself a subprime department. I'm going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about how you can determine if you really need one or not. So what do you need to build one? Number 1, you need the banks. You need the banks because you can't take a 520 credit score and send them to a prime bank and expect that that's a subprime department and you're going to get those deals approved. Simply not going to happen. You got to have the banks. You got to have the relationships within those banks, okay? You've got to have you have to have inventory. You have to have good inventory that works for subprime. And I think a lot of challenge around the inventory is that the same vehicles that work for regular customers, people on a budget, also work for subprime. And as dealers, we're like, we could make so much more if we just sold it to a regular customer. Well, yeah, and if you can and you have the opportunity, do it. Bottom line, stocking more of the cars that work for subprime will help you sell more cars in general. There's nothing wrong with buying those cars. So having cars with decent mileage that are decent priced and newer vehicles, right? Obviously, those work well for subprime in most cases, depending if you have CAC, different programs like that. So you got to have the banks, you got to have the cars, and most importantly, and this is, you can't do it without this, you've got to have the champion. So the subprime champion is someone who has been through it, someone who can empathize with those subprime customers, someone who really loves helping people, someone who likes relational selling, someone who understands the subprime bank programs and how they work. But you've got to have a champion. You can hire one from outside, you can groom one from within, and if you don't know how to groom a subprime champion from within, then just call me and you can hire me to coach them, okay? But at the end of the day, you need a champion, because that person will help steer the ship as far as the inventory and what you need. They will help build the relationships with the lenders and make sure that those are set up right. And then you need to create, obviously, accountability processes for that, where you're checking on the CITs, you're making sure that you have strict rules as far as, okay, we're not going to deliver a car with all the steps, we're not doing side note loans for the down payments, we're not going to roll cars without clean titles and things like that. Guys, as long as you set these rules up, I promise you, salespeople will do them because they have to make a paycheck. We didn't roll, 80% of our business at my first dealership was subprime, and we didn't roll a car without having all the steps and everything I just discussed. We had a clean subprime department. In about a decade, I took back less than 5 cars. Think about that, less than 5 cars in a decade. If you're gonna do a subprime department, you can do it right, it's possible, okay? Now, last but not least, okay, I'm gonna tell you how to find out if you really need a subprime department or not. So pull up your dealer track, all right? Look at, for the last 30, 60 days, look at the credit scores of all your customers, all right? And then ask your finance manager or look at your bureaus, whatever, but know what is your credit score threshold where the customer no longer gets approved and gets delivered in a car at your dealership. Some dealerships, you might say anything under 620, we can't get approved, we don't sell. I've seen that. Other dealerships are like 400. Okay, well, you already have a subprime department, you're good. Bottom line is this, guys. Look at that threshold, find all the bureaus over the last 30, 60 days that are in there that are under that threshold. And ask yourself, what percentage of our opportunities that we ran bureaus on are these customers? And imagine if you saw that 40% of your bureaus you've ran are customers that you couldn't get approved and couldn't deliver because you didn't have the subprime resources to take care of those customers. What would that mean for your business if 40% of your opportunities could be turned into deliveries? What if 50 or 60% was, guys? It's that simple. That's how you look to know if you need a subprime department. And I want for you guys to be able to build this department, gain the profit, and generate the results that I've seen myself, that dealerships I coach have seen across the country. So guys, this dealershipnews.com vlog has been all about how to create stability at your dealership by building out an amazing subprime department. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. It's Sean, SEAN, at carmotivators.com. This is Sean Kelley, the Car Biz Coach, out.